And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Saturday. And you know what that means? It's time for the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you in a big week of toy news this week. A big week of travel for me. I'm still trying to get used to going from West Coast time to Central time, as I was in Las Vegas and Los Angeles this week with good friend of the channel, great friend of the channel, Jeff George. We were out there on an LA, Las Vegas adventure, going to John 5 shows, getting to hang out backstage and hang out with John 5 as well. Jeff and John, great friends, fast friends, two members, card-carrying members of the KISS Army, that some people do know that as well. But quite the time out there. Maybe talk about that in weekly purchases in tomorrow's video a little bit more. But boy, coming back to your real work life, of course, catching up with your family. You got to say hi to the kids once in a while, I guess. Plus all the reviews, action figure stuff, toy news. It's been a blur of a week, but man, we're getting through. We're powering through. It is the weekend. And as a young lover boy once said, everybody's working for it. That's true. It's true. They've fact-checked that, scientists even. But of course, we're here to talk about all the toy news this week, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Of course, a couple of housekeeping things per the usual. Jack's Class Superstars book right around the corner. Been talking about it every single weekend in these videos for the last month or so. Should be able to order this here in the next couple of weeks. Just want to keep putting a little extra logs in the fire there just to let you guys, don't forget about it. Don't forget about it. It's coming. A lot more info when it is up for sale. Obviously, all the usual places. I'll talk about all that, where to get it, all the fun stuff, all the copies, you name it. We'll do some deep dives on that. But coming very soon. So very much appreciate all the interest in the book. A lot of positive messages, a lot of excited messages, which is very exciting to hear. So more on that very soon, but wanted to talk about that. And of course, Patreon, we're in a new month, February. Oh boy, shout out to February. It's a busy, expensive month for me. I got my anniversary this month. I got my daughter's birthday this month, one of my daughters, and of course, Valentine's Day. So it's a busy month, February, every single. It's a short month, but an expensive month for me every year. But we do got that going along, and of course, February means new Patreon giveaway. Patreon, the best value in Patreon? Sure, I don't know, you guys tell me, but there's a lot of content over there every single day. Exclusive content, early access to both YouTube channels' videos. Yes, we have two YouTube channels. Make sure you subscribe to both of those. A lot of that stuff, of course, giveaways, a monthly Q&A, and a lot more stuff going on over there every single day. So check out the Patreon. Always support you guys supporting the channel. But this month, for February, the giveaway, we're going to McFarland from the couch. Todd, why did you make me buy these? Why couldn't I have just you've been gifted? You get to lay on my couch all the time. You could have gifted me these. They aren't crazy expensive. Not going to break your wallet, that's for sure. But I did. I purchased a little McFarland stuff. Got a little giveaway this month. It is Batman and Robin, of course, Batman 66, an all-timer of a line here, but that's not it. With these two, also going to give away the Batmobile. They want to go in style. So one Patreon member this month here of February, you'll be in the drawing here for the Batmobile and Batman and Robin. Plus, you get all the extra fun content we talk about all the time here on the channel. So that is the February Patreon giveaway. So there it is. There's the housekeeping. Let's get down to it. Let's get down to the news here. And we're going to start it off with one I get a message about probably once a week. Well, this week, finally, Epic Toys did talk about Sabu. It sounds like Sabu is coming very soon. Delay after delay after delay. Years ago, we pre-ordered this. Finally coming to our mailboxes, hopefully here in the next month or so. Looks like they are starting to ship out. So fingers crossed we'll have Sabu to unbox here on the channel in the next month. We'll call it the next month. How about that? But there is an update on Sabu, finally coming. And then we did get a little Mattel pre-order stuff going on this week. Of course, Ringside Collectibles, use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. They did put up Elite Series 109, that is including Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke is also the Chase in that set. We got Seth Rollins, we got Dominic Mysterio, and Damian Priest, of course, from the Judgment Day. Bayley, finally a return to Bayley. It seems like it's been forever since we've had a Bayley Elite figure, so we have that one coming. And then no stranger to any Elite line, no stranger to friend of the channel. We're talking Cody Rhodes. So Cody Rhodes is going to be in 109 as well. Also went up for pre-order SummerSlam, the brand new SummerSlam wave, of course part of the pay-per-view series. We got Lex Luger, we got X-Pac, we got Kane, we got Undertaker, and we got the Build-A-Figure John Cone. Getting a referee, that's going to be a pretty cool one there. Can't wait to see those. Those are coming here later in the spring. Later in the spring, it sounds like, for those. So if you're into those, head on over to Ringside, discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. And then we turn our attention to a little throwback stuff, something I'm really in the mood for. And of course, you guys know I love big rubber guys. Oh, I love big Johns and studs. We've made that very clear in the last week or so here on the channel. But I also love big rubber guys. Oh, give me all the big rubber guys. But of course, Major Bendy's, the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast over there, their Big Rubber Guys line should have the next wave of Sergeant Slaughter, Marty Jannetty, and Ric Flair any day now. Mine just did get tracking here, so I should have those maybe next week's weekly purchases. We'll see what happens there. But they did put up a pre-order, and it is a 1-month pre-order. Very smart. What's my opinion worth? I don't know, but I think pre-orders on things like this need to be a month. At minimum 2 weeks. 1 week, it's just not enough time. 2 weeks, I don't feel is enough time as well. I feel like a month, you got a lot of time to get the word out. People talk about it every single week. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, there's people that'll wait to the very last minute. I totally get that. But a month is a little bit more palatable to, I think, the average Joe consumer out there. Maybe that's just me, but I do like that. We have the whole month of February to order it, and we do got Magnum TA. We talked about that in the past. I love the idea of Magnum in this line because he does feel LJN WWF adjacent, and I'd love to see more of that. And we do have Ric Flair coming like we talked about, but Magnum TA works really good here. Magnum getting a renaissance here, getting Power Town figures. He got that Elite back in the day. He's got the Remco style figure coming. It's just all coming up Magnum TA. It's like it's 1985 all over again is what it feels like. But then we have Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and I was blown away by this Hacksaw. He's not at the top of my want list, but this is a very good-looking Hacksaw big rubber guy. I really like this one. And then the curveball this week, we're getting a Chase Hacksaw, and thankfully it's not the Chase where you just have to order and cross your fingers. You can straight up order this one, which I think is really cool. But I love the face paint. You know me, I'm a sucker for face paint on my wrestlers. I love big guys, especially John Studs, and I also love face paint. And we got Hacksaw with face paint. Going to pair perfectly with Demolition from that one instance way back in the day. We'll never forget that one. Even got a different 2x4 on this one. So very cool there. 3 big rubber guys up for pre-order now. Definitely pickups for me. Got to have that. I'm all in on all the big rubber guys. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Once this new set comes, I think we're waiting on, what is it, Macho Man Andre and the British Bulldogs. I think will be the next ones arriving. So anxiously awaiting those as well. But now we go from the highs of highs to maybe the lowest of lows. We go over to FTC, Figures Toy Company. We don't talk a lot about those. It's just kind of a weird line. And I definitely have some. We've unboxed some on the channel. And apparently they are moving over to a more Mattel Elite style figure instead of the old school Jakks Ruthless Aggression, Deluxe Aggression hybrid they've been in for the last probably decade or so. But we did get, of course, from Jim Cornette, and Jim Cornette's all in on FTC. You got to give it to Jim Cornette. At least he's loyal to these companies. But we got 3 different box sets coming from FTC that you can pre-order. It is Bobby Eaton and, of course, Stan Lane, the Midnight Express. We do have that one coming. There's another one with Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton. Of course, the 2 versions of the Midnight Express that most people think of. And then you got the Heavenly Bodies, Dr. Tom, and Sweet Stan Lane once again. Now, all of these are at different price points, starting at $100 all the way up to, I think, $160, $150. A little bit pricey, no doubt about it, especially for 2 figures, but they do come in a nice box set. They are limited edition. They do come with autographs. They come with books, different things going on there. So there's a little bit more value to it than just the figures. Not going to be for everybody, but man, there's a cult of Cornette, they do say out there, and the Cornette fan base will gobble these up. Of course, Midnight Express fans, usually 2 and 2, kind of go hand in hand for the most part. But these do seem to sell out. I think there was another box set like this of the Midnight Express 6 months ago. Once again, What Is Time? And that sold out pretty good. So if you're on the fence, if you're into this kind of thing, here's your opportunity there. I'd say go to the Jim Cornette and the FTC stuff to check that out and pick it up if that is your thing there. Would love to see some Power Town figures of Midnight Express. Midnight Express, one of the great teams of the 80s. A little bit underrated, lost behind the Steiners and the LODs of the world and some of the other teams. But man, all day long, Midnight Express, an amazing tag team. There's no doubt about it. Now we turn our attention to some more retro news. Johnny Gargano, Zombie Sailor toy. And I don't understand the holdup on this one. It's been probably about a year and a half until we get this one in our hands from when it went up for first pre-order. Of course, that was during the time when Johnny was no longer with the WWE. He has since been back for quite some time, but this is finally coming out. And Zombie Sailor throwing us a bit of a curveball. I'm not a big fan of this curveball, but it's been thrown. There's no taking it back. I like a good forkball at the end of the day. That was my specialty. Shout out to the forkball, a forgotten pitch all these years later. But Johnny is coming in 2 different packaging designs. Apparently there's a blue packaging version that is a 1 of 10. So extremely limited edition on that one. That one, if you get it, myself included, probably not going to be an opener. If there's only 10 of them, probably better keep that one on card. But there's going to be 2 variants. So Zombie Sailor Completist, you're going to be in for a world of hurt. You're going to be pulling your hair out trying to track down that 1 of 10. That's the way it is. That's collecting 101, I guess, these days. Make some variants, make some excitement, create some excitement, and that's what Zombie's doing with that one there. This week, though, I guess, kind of around toy news a little bit. I did finally see the Iron Claw movie. A lot of people saying, Kyle, what do you think about the Iron Claw? Well, I finally did see it. Jeff and I, when we were in L.A., I think is where we saw it. L.A. Burbank. Shout out to Burbank. Shout out to Barney's. Shout out to the chick at the bar that was going crazy, riding that astral plane. It was a wild time. That's a video in itself, but we did go to the Iron Claw late one night just to check it out. I've been wanting to see it, of course. Obviously, I'm deep in the Texas roots. I'm an honorary Texan. I travel there so much anymore. It's my home away from home. But I did follow the Von Erich story as a kid, and of course, Texas Tornado, all that stuff. I followed all of that as a kid. Of course, the wrestling magazines, you name it. And then, of course, going back with all the documentaries, everything. So I really knew the story pretty well. And to me, my quick review, it was okay. It was worth watching once. I wouldn't probably watch it again. A lot of it was taken out of me with Zac Efron is... Kevin Von Erich never struck me as the leader and the center point. Nothing against Kevin and his bare feet, but it just never felt like the homing beacon for the crew. I think he just was the survivor. That's kind of how I always felt that way. But it was an interesting movie. I thought the dad, Fritz, was played very well by whatever actor that was. I thought that he was the star actor of the show, if that's one thing. I didn't like, Jeff and I both had issues with kind of the up-close camera work on that. It was just felt a little like it needed to step back like a foot. It was very strange and clunky in times, I did feel. And I feel like if I didn't know the story of the Von Erichs, and it wasn't 100% there, we know there was always liberties with movies and things. If I didn't know the story of the Von Erichs, I felt I would have enjoyed the movie more. Maybe that's just me, but I think somebody like my wife that doesn't really know the history of the Von Erichs, I think she would love the movie. She's like, oh, this is a really good movie. I can't believe this. But people that know it, I think you have kind of expectations in the way things you think are going to go, and it doesn't always follow along that way. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. But it was worth watching one time. It did not change my life. It did not change my life. You guys shout out in the comments with your quick movie review of the Iron Claw, but I thought I'd throw that in here as well. But now we transition from wrestling. We transition to GI Joe, and it's the 60th anniversary. And you know what Jerry Reed always says about GI Joe? We've got a long way to go and a short time. Not messing around, he's exactly right. There's a lot to dive in with GI Joe. A lot of reveals this week, and from 2 different GI Joe companies that are making GI Joe figures. But we're going to start with Hasbro. Hasbro on Thursday this week really shined with a lot of reveals. I think we were aware all these figures were coming out, but these are kind of the official reveals is what we had going on there. And we did see the Torch figure, of course, to complete that original trio of Dreadnoks. Torch and All-Timer. My favorite of the 3 Dreadnoks that we've got with the Ripper, the Buzzer, the Torch. Torch, always the main man for me. Reminded me of my grandpa. My grandpa was a welder. Kind of always looked like my grandpa back in the day. So I hold a torch for Torch, you could say. So I'm very excited for that one coming. Of course, Doc, very interesting. I'll be unboxing Doc on the channel here in any day now from the Super 7 line. But we got Doc coming from the line here from the Classified. I thought that was really cool. I like how they kind of aged Doc a little bit as well. I like the looks of how Doc has, and he does come with a stretcher. Have to imagine some of this might get reused in the future for Lifeline, and that Lifeline unboxing, the day that does come to this channel, it's going to be an all-timer. I've got a couple of bone depicts with Lifeline going back from childhood, and we're going to carry off those childhood prejudices into adulthood in that unboxing. So stay tuned to that in like 2025 probably when they do finally make a Lifeline. But Doc looking good. Night Creeper, an all-time favorite of mine as a kid. You guys know, longtime viewers of the channel, I'm not a huge GI Joe Ninja aspect, but I always liked the Night Creeper. I always thought that was a cool one. Here for that. And somebody say Ninja. Somebody say make like an amoeba and split. That was Jinx, and we are getting Jinx here. Not quite the Jinx from the movie. I think at San Diego Comic-Con they said it was going to be like a movie-looking Jinx. It's kind of a 2-in-1. You get it with and without mask, so I do like that. But there's some liberties taken with this one. But still, not terrible and kind of in line with what we get with Classified. It feels like you know who it is, with just some changes going on to it. I think the Super 7 Ultimate line is where we get the cartoon depictions, and maybe we'll get a Jinx in the future in that one. I guess we'll stay tuned for that. But Jinx coming in, and the one that stole my heart and still has never let go and probably will not, going to be a hard contender for Figure of the Year this year for me, is another Dreadnought named Naugahyde. Love Naugahyde as a kid. You guys know me and my rules. If the Joe or Cobra comes with an animal, it's a day oneer for me. Well, they just upped the ante on this one. They just upped the ante big time with Naugahyde. Plenty of weapons, plenty of accessories. Of course, we got Pork Belly. I'm reading it here. That's the name of his wild boar. Very cool. You had me at Pork Belly. I'm here for that. But they went one step farther with Yobo the monkey. Oh my gosh, you're giving me a monkey. I'm all in on any monkeys. I love monkeys. If it was allowable and I could pull it off, I would have monkeys living in my house. They would be helper monkeys. I think it would be the greatest thing ever. I've always wanted to own a monkey. Naugahyde did it. He lived the dream. A lot of people say, Kyle, when I was a kid, I always said, oh, I'm going to get a house. I'm going to have all these figures on display and stuff. Nobody ever does it. But Kyle, you did it. You did it. And I said, I did. I built this around my collection. That's what I did. And one of these days I'm going to have a monkey, and that monkey will probably be the downfall of my collection. I'll come in, it'll tear the whole place up. But this Yobo monkey is amazing because this monkey has an eye patch. An eye patch on a monkey. This is just playing all the hits. A Dreadnought monkey. Man, oh man, Naugahyde, very early contender for best G.I. Joe Classified Figure of the Year. I'm saying it right now. Cannot wait to see that one. But we weren't done. The final reveal, Flint's got some backup. Flint building out that Tiger Force team with Tripwire and Roadblock. This is what I'm talking about. Is I have some complaints with the Classified line. They're minimal complaints. I enjoy the line. Really the best line of last year, as we did in our countdown videos. But they don't put enough time in between repaints. Like Tunnel Rat, Outback. Let's put some distance between these repaints a little bit. Well, now Roadblock is one of them. We were roadblocked out at the beginning of the Classified line. They laid in the weeds, laid in the grass. Now we're finally getting a Roadblock. This makes sense to me. And this reminds me of the Roadblock Tiger Force edition. Of course it is. But when I was a kid and I had the original Roadblock, or I had the second version of Roadblock as a little kid, really liked that one. But then years later, we get the Tiger Force one. Or at least it seemed like an eternity as a kid. But I like the looks of this Tiger Force Roadblock. Somebody that missed out on Roadblock back in the day, now they have an access to another Roadblock. That's the beauty of these Tiger Force repaints. And then Tripwire, it's been pretty soon since we had that one. So it truly is a yin and yang. And I didn't see anywhere, maybe you guys can correct me, but it looks like this will be a 2-pack possibly. They both look fairly deluxe. I could see that. Maybe a Target exclusive. Is that still going to be a Target exclusive thing? I guess we'll wait and see on that one. None of this stuff did go up for pre-order quite yet. Have to imagine here in the next month or so we will see some of that. But it's a strong, strong showing from Hasbro in the G.I. Joe Classified series. It's amazing how the Classified has stole so many collectors' hearts. Marvel Legends still stole some hearts, just not quite like it did years ago. So I don't know if it's kind of the line feel like we've done everything in that line. It's kind of retreading water is kind of what the fan base feels, where G.I. Joe feels brand new and shiny. Not exactly sure, but we did get some X-Men 97 pre-orders this week, but that was pretty much it for Marvel Legends. It was G.I. Joe week at the Hasbro offices, at least for me and where I sit. And of course, you guys know I sit right here at this very table. So interesting there, but we're not done with the G.I. Joe news. Super 7 coming in hot with some repaints this week. On brand for Super 7. We've seen this before with the Thundercats line. Some of these other lines. Gotta get the most out of your molds. I do get this. But it is G.I. Joe Lady Night, and they're hunting for the Deke. Yes, the Deke is what these ladies are hunting for. They want the DIC, of course, the Deke cartoon back in the day. Worth a watch at least once, but a pretty tough go through that whole series. Operation Dragonfly, of course, the miniseries that kicked off the series, pretty good. It kind of tied up some loose ends, of course, from the G.I. Joe animated movie, but after that, it got pretty crazy. If you saw it, you know exactly what I mean. But we're getting repaints. We got Scarlet, Lady J, and Baroness in more of their Deke colors. Kind of a crazier, different color patterns on them. the Baroness, far and away the star of the show. She comes with Cobra Commander, as we do know that like antler head she put on helped kind of revert Cobra Commander back into his scuba suit, is what we'll call it. Helped turn him back into a man, or whatever you want to call it. That was part of the Operation Dragonfly there, the Python Patrol. We learned all about that. But the Baroness is the main event of that threesome, for me at least, at the end of the day. It's an interesting one. I mean, Lady J will be nice, and hopefully the faces will be better. Maybe you can switch with your old Lady J. And of course, Scarlet around the corner, and I guess this one will follow up around the corner from that one. We haven't even got the original Scarlet yet, coming very, very soon, hopefully, from Super 7. As Series 3 just arrived this week. We'll talk about that in weekly purchases. Heck of a long wait for those. Hopefully Series 4 a little quicker. Hopefully these repaints a little quicker as well. So we'll see what happens. But a big, big week for Lady J, Baroness, and Lady J, Baroness, and Scarlet. Easy for me to forget, Duke's girl. I always remember Lady J. But a big week for them over at Super 7, getting another dance around the sun right there. Like a young Rio in some ways. So we'll see how that shakes up. Now we turn our attention to Masters of the Universe, and I've heard some people say they're getting shipping for Eternia. I'm not sure if that's on the up and up or not. I guess we'll wait and see. I didn't get anything in my email yet, and I'm not ready for Eternia. I'm still doing some work over there. It's delaying my figure tour for 2023 into 2024. We'll get there, though. We'll get there. There's a lot going on with this channel. There's a lot going on with me every single day. No doubt about it. But some people saying they got Eternia coming. We'll wait and see. Hopefully I do. But speaking of Eternia this week, we did see Modi, and it looks like our old friend Modi that comes with Eternia. It looks like he's getting a package design there, which is kind of crazy. I kind of assumed that would just be kind of in a baggie or something like that. But they're going full out, giving us a box design for Modi. So shout out to old Modi there, getting the full treatment going on. We also saw this week Rockon, February 16th, going up for pre-order over there on Mattel Creations. We're going to get another Origins figure in Rockon. We know we got more of these coming as we go through 2024, as they really wind down Origins as it turns to a Mattel Creations line in 2024. But that's the next one. Get your wallets ready, February 16th. We also saw Mossman in package, Turtles of Grayskull. We saw him on the back of the package, so we knew he was on the way. We did see the packaging. An interesting take on Mossman, no doubt about it. But I've always enjoyed Mossman, and of course I will pick this one up, but that is out there. Mondo Orko, pre-order over, but apparently a very successful pre-order. And man, Mondo Mania is stacking up. I'm looking at a huge stack of Mondo figures I got to unbox. I just don't know where I'm going to put them. Got to figure that out very, very soon. But Orko, they announced this week, is a really cool move from Mondo to the fan base that, hey, we heard you guys really wanted a spell book for Orko. Guess what? We're throwing that in with the figure. Thought that was really cool. They designed one, have one. It's going to be with that Orko Mondo figure. Very, very cool of them to do that, I did feel. And then we talked Turtles of Grayskull. I guess a little bit of a segue here over to Donatello's lab. We did get the teaser picture for that. We just unboxed the sewer layer on the channel about a week or 2 weeks ago. What is time once again? Now it looks like the second one is coming, and it's going to be Donatello's lab. So it should be a lot of reuse from that one with some new accessories, things like that. For me, I got to get it because I'll pair it right next to the other one, have those two together. But if they do more than two, which it sounds like they are, I might be out. I don't have really room for 3 of those unless I reconfigure and do a lot of work, and I don't want to do that much work. So we'll see. I might be 2 and done for me. We'll see what ends up happening right there. So very excited to see how this goes. It'll be an interesting price point on this one as well. So we'll stay tuned to that on the channel as things do come. And then finally, the last bit of news right here. McFarland Toys, old Todd McFarland on the couch hanging out today. He went all in. He put all those chips. He was with us over in Vegas. A wild man in Vegas. He doesn't sleep, I can tell you that much. He went all in with his chips, and he's coming out with all kinds of superpowers. Of course, the superpowers line, a line I have a love-hate relationship with. I want to collect them, but it's not giving me all the characters I really, really want. But he came back this week with 6 different figures that are coming out. It's a lot of figures. It feels like this line has really exploded, and unfortunately most Walmarts out there seem to have the same figures over and over. There's no rotating the pegs. I'm waiting for a lot of these to go to clearance. I'd love to pick up some more of these at $3 or $4. I'll buy any of them I need for $3 or $4. I'm just not going to go into the $10, $11 range for a lot of these. And we did get some interesting ones with the Blue Beetle looks to be the most exciting one. Brainiac probably for some people out there. Kilowog, I never know if I pronounce his name. I love a big beefy lantern, so I'm here for that. Superman, Batman repaints don't do a lot for me there. but a very interesting, eclectic group, but also a lot of vehicles. And there was a Brainiac in his skull ship, an exclusive to McFarland Toy Store. There's one that's going to retail, already being found in retail. We get the Blue Beetles vehicle as well. There's a lot of stuff coming all out at once, and McFarland really stole the show. It is sold out, but you could go an all-in package, get everything, save 10% with their coupon, of course. A lot going on there to pick those up. So if you're a fan of that Superpowers line, I know it is a little frustrating, myself included, but a lot of good stuff this week and a lot of stuff to really say, hey, this line's not dead after all. There's a lot of meat on the bone, apparently, with all this. And I do keep wondering, are they going to do a modern take on the Hall of Justice? That would be amazing. I'd be here for that, so we'll see if that ends up happening. But that is the toy news this week. Looking at my list, that seems to be it. Now we transition to Album of the Week. All right, getting down to Album of the Week, and of course, put your Album of the Week in the comments down below. But mine's kind of like an old shoe, an old comfy shoe I go back to every couple of months, 6 months, whatever it is, whatever time is, as we always say. But I'm going to a greatest hits album. It is from the band Status Quo. It is Quotable Quo. Now, Status Quo, if you're in America, you probably don't know a lot of Quo. Unless you're a deep music fan, you might. But of course, over in the UK, Europe, things like that, people love themselves some Status Quo. Status Quo even made a movie with John Lovitz. Yes, they did. Not very many years ago either. Kind of like a little Beatles-esque movie there, but they were older in there. But of course, Rick, one of the founding members, died, as we do know, Rick Parfitt. Francis Rossi's still holding down the fort, still going the ship with still other members. But most of the members outside of Francis are pretty much out of the band. They still tour and stuff. Not quite the same, but still special in their own way. But man, if you don't know Status Quo, Quotable Quo is a pretty good start. Man, they got some all-timers out there. A lot of good music from Status Quo, really under the radar in a lot of the world, as I did say, but man, like an old shoe, just really up my alley, and I always do enjoy it. It's one of those albums I can just put on, and it's just a great background. It doesn't get in the way, but it is enjoyable listen. So if you've never checked out Status Quo, check out Quotable Quo and the 1,000 other albums they've had over the years. So quite an all-timer out there for Album of the Week. And that's it. As I try to get my sea legs, I don't know, sea legs? Maybe not sea legs. I don't know what the word is, but I'm trying to get back on solid ground here. Got a lot of catching up to do this weekend. Got a lot of work to do. No rest for the wicked, like a young Ozzy Osbourne, as we always do say as well. But we'll get back, and we'll be back in the saddle again like a young Aerosmith next week on the channel as well. So a lot of unboxings to come. Check out weekly purchases. A lot of stuff going on over there. And shout out to everybody that's enjoying the channel and messaging me and all that kind of stuff, talking every single day. A lot of good content out there, a lot of good stuff to chat about. I appreciate all you guys watching each and every day. And we're dangerously close to 38,000 subscribers on the channel as well. So if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button. I think we're just a couple away as I'm filming this. Who knows? By the time this video drops, we might have surpassed that one. The march to 50,000 begins. We'll see what happens with that one. So more on that as it does develop here. But of course, don't forget about this channel. Make sure you give me your comments, what you thought of the toy news of the week, what you picked up, what your album of the week was. Put that in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel once again. And the other YouTube channel. I got videos over there every single day, so you don't want to miss some of that. A lot of Todd McFarland from the couch. A lot of McFarland talk over there. A lot of off-the-rails stuff over there as well. Too hot for channel number 1. We got to put it on channel 2. That's how that goes. But make sure you subscribe to both channels. Don't forget about the Patreon. Got the Batman giveaway this month on February. A lot of fun stuff coming over to the Patreon. So check out the old Patreon. Support the channel. You can also support the channel at PrestonTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. Don't forget social media. SirPaul64 on the X. The _Kyle_Peterson on Threads. And on Instagram. So, for another toy news of the week, you know what I'm doing? I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into another weekend.